Imagine the low hum of a police radio mingling with the whisper of wind through empty streets. In the dead of night, real-life nightmares creep from the shadows. These are not ghost stories, but the unsettling truth of baffling disappearances and murders. Tonight on Echoed Tales, we peel back the veil on 5 chilling, unsolved crimes that have haunted detectives and everyday people. From the cold Minnesota countryside to a fog-shrouded California alley, each case carries its own eerie atmosphere and unanswered questions. If these dark mysteries pique your curiosity, like this video, subscribe, and share your theories below. It was May 2008 when 19-year-old Brandon Swanson's ordinary evening took a terrifying turn. After celebrating the end of school in Canby, Minnesota, he was driving home on a dark highway when his car careened into a ditch. Calmly, Brandon called his parents on his cell phone. "I'm okay," he told them, insisting he was near the Hoy, small town of Lind. He asked them to come and pick him up. For 47 tense minutes, Brandon stayed on the line. His parents drove back and forth on country roads, following the directions he gave over and over. Finally, just after 2:30 a.m., Brandon's voice broke the silence. "Oh, shit!" And then, nothing. The phone went dead, and Brandon Swanson slipped from the world forever. The next day, cell tower data revealed something strange. Brandon had said he was near Lind, but his phone pinged off a tower near Porter, over 25 miles in a different direction. Investigators soon found his abandoned Chevrolet Lumina off a gravel road near Taunton, just beside the swollen Yellow Medicine River. No body, no weapon, nothing to explain what happened. Foul play was not ruled out, but some wondered if Brandon had wandered away and somehow tumbled into the river's depths. Search teams with dogs combed the banks and muddy currents for months, finding nothing but more questions. Was Brandon disoriented and lost in the pitch-black night? If so, why did he suddenly scream? And if not, who or what might have scared him so much? His parents never got to hug their son again. The last thing they heard was a frightened cry, and Brandon Swanson has never been seen or heard from since. Decades. Earlier, in August 1966, another pair of friends vanished into darkness. This time on a remote hilltop outside Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Manuel Pereira da Cruz and Miguel José Viana, 2 young electronics technicians, left their town together one afternoon with vague plans. 3 days later, a local boy flying a kite atop Morro do Vintém stumbled on their bodies. The scene was bizarre and gruesome. Each man lay beside the other, dressed in formal suits and waterproof raincoats, yet each wore a metal eye mask made of lead, cut crudely like oversized sunglasses. There were no bullet holes, no blood splatter, no obvious injury to the skull or body. It was as if they had simply fallen into a deep sleep, never to wake. Next to the corpses lay a half-empty bottle of water, 2 wet towels, and perhaps the most baffling clue of all, a small notebook. Inside was scrawled this cryptic message in Portuguese. 4:30 p.m. Go to the designated place. 6:30 p.m. Ingest capsules. After the effects, protect metals. Await signal, mask. Who instructed them to meet at 4:30 and take mysterious pills at 6:30? And what signal were they waiting for, wearing those heavy lead-eye shields? Autopsies later revealed no clear cause of death. There were no wounds from weapons, and, incredibly, no toxicology tests were ever done. The truth dissolved into smoke, leaving legends in its wake. Some whispered that the men were scientific spiritualists, eager to contact extraterrestrials or spirits. A friend claimed they believed an alien encounter or mystical vision would come with a blinding light, hence the metal masks over their eyes. Others suspected foul play, perhaps a sinister experiment gone wrong. The fact remains, The masked eyes of Manuel and Miguel have never told their tale. That hillside still holds their secret and our questions. Then there's the story of Blair Adams, a 31-year-old Canadian whose final hours read like a detective's fever dream. In July 1996, Blair withdrew nearly $90,000 from his bank account, emptied his safety deposit box of jewelry and valuables, and abruptly left his life in British Columbia. He boarded a ferry to Seattle with this fortune in tow, then was denied entry into the US for alleged drug courier suspicions. Defiant, he hiked back and forth at the border, scratched and bruised as if from a struggle. He eventually slipped into the US by renting a car and driving hundreds of miles across the high country, exhibiting increasingly erratic behavior along the way. On July 11, 1996, workers at a Knoxville, Tennessee construction site made a grisly discovery at dawn: Blair Adams's body. He lay half naked in the parking lot of an unfinished hotel. His pants, shoes, and socks had been removed and tossed aside. His shirt was open. Scattered around him was an odd collection: German marks, Canadian dollars, and American bills, nearly $4,000 in various currencies, along with maps and receipts in a black duffel, and a fanny pack filled with gold bars, coins, and jewelry. If this were a robbery gone wrong, why were the valuables left untouched? The autopsy painted a nightmarish image. Blair had suffered multiple cuts and bruises, defensive wounds on his hands, and a savage blow to the abdomen that ruptured his stomach. He bled out internally. The official cause was sepsis from an abdominal perforation. A heavy instrument, perhaps a crowbar or club, had struck his forehead too. He had also been sexually assaulted. The only physical clue: a single strand of long hair was clenched tightly in his fist. The details don't add up. Blair was found naked, but still clutching thousands in cash and gold, as if someone struck him down, but didn't take a single thing. Witnesses reported he had been acting paranoid, talking about being followed and cheated. He paid for a hotel room at the Fairfield Inn that morning, but then vanished again. When police searched for his killer, they came up empty. In 2010, investigators even released a composite sketch of a man seen speaking to Blair at a Cracker Barrel, but it led nowhere. What terror made Blair peel off his clothes and flee? And who finished him off under the silent Tennessee sky? Despite true crime shows and podcasts diving into the puzzle, Blair Adams's murder remains unsolved, a brutal riddle written in blood. Some mysteries are older than the living. In 1948, a well-dressed stranger was found dead on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. His appearance was curious. He wore a neat suit and tie, but all the labels had been cut away. In his pocket was a crumpled scrap torn from a paperback of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, on which someone had printed the words Tamam Shud, Persian for finished, a phone number of a local nurse, and an unknown code written in the book were among the only clues. The press dubbed him the Somerton Man, and he became one of Australia's greatest enigmas. The autopsy showed he died of heart failure, but authorities suspected poisoning. No pill bottles or syringes, no discoloration of organs. Who was he? A spy? A scorned lover? Someone out of time? His true name remained unknown for decades, and while a recent DNA analysis claims to have identified him as Carl Charles Webb of Melbourne, the official case file still calls it a mystery. It's the details that chill. A man minding his own business, found face down as dawn broke, a single poetic clue tucked in his coat. Who whispered "finished" over that body? Even after 70-plus years, the Somerton Man's death feels unfinished. Each winter tide washes away more answers, leaving us with only that final scrap of Persian and the unsolved question: what happened that night on the beach? The year was 1947. Los Angeles shimmered with post-war glamour, a city where dreams were born and sometimes buried. On the morning of January 15th, a woman walking near Leimert Park spotted something in a vacant lot. At first, she thought it was a mannequin. It wasn't. The body of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short lay severed cleanly in two at the waist, drain, entirely of blood, posed with eerie deliberation. Her arms were stretched above her head, her mouth sliced from ear to ear in a gruesome, Joker-like smile. The press dubbed her the Black Dahlia, after her striking black clothes and rumored love of dark movies. Elizabeth had come to Hollywood chasing stardom. She ended up a symbol of its shadows. The crime scene was meticulously arranged. There was no blood at the site, meaning she had been killed elsewhere. Her body had been washed, her intestines tucked beneath her. Police were stunned by the precision of the mutilation. Some thought the killer had surgical training. Dozens of doctors were quietly investigated. Over 150 suspects were interviewed, none arrested. Clues trickled in. An anonymous caller taunting the police. A handbag and shoe found in a nearby alley. A man claiming he knew the killer and even met Elizabeth in a bar just days before. Yet every promising lead twisted into a smoke. The tabloids had a field day. The public was obsessed. And still, no one could explain what happened between Elizabeth Short's last known sighting and the night someone dismembered her and displayed her in the open like a dark art installation. Theories swirled. An enraged lover, a jealous woman, a surgeon with a grudge. But none ever stuck. Even decades later, with new DNA techniques and fresh investigative eyes, the case remains one of the most brutal and theatrical unsolved murders in American history. Elizabeth's face, smiling in life, twisted in death, haunts the annals of LA crime. Her story is a cautionary tale dressed as a mystery. A young woman seeking the spotlight, only to become its most infamous shadow. What binds these chilling tales together is not just violence or tragedy, but the void they left behind. They are puzzles with missing pieces, doors without keys, voices that called for help and were swallowed by silence. From the empty road in Minnesota to the quiet beaches of Australia, from a Rio hilltop to a Hollywood sidewalk, these are crimes frozen in time, defiant against explanation. And perhaps that's what keeps us coming back, hoping one day a forgotten witness will speak, a clue will surface, a mystery will be resolved. But until then, they remain echoes, echoes of fear, echoes of truth. And here on Echoed Tales, we listen. If you want more stories like this, mysteries wrapped in shadow, real crimes that read like fiction, subscribe, leave a comment with your theories, and join the search. Because sometimes, the only thing colder than the case is the silence it leaves behind.